Oh, hey guys. To remind you, this past weekend we asked the question, what do you look forward to most at Christmas? Maybe it's the food, maybe it's the presents under the tree, or maybe you really love time with family and maybe seeing some extended family. All of these are great things, but those aren't what the Christmas season is for, are they? We often hear the phrase, Jesus is the reason for the season, or it's about what you give, not what you get. But even with those reminders, it is so easy to make the Christmas season and even Advent all about us and what we get. And when we do that, we get to January and we look back and we measure Christmas by what we received or experienced. So let's think back and talk about what the very first Christmas was like. We all have heard the story of Christmas. Jesus being born and laid in a manger, surrounded by animals because there was no room in the inn, which we can picture and understand as far from an ideal way for a child to be born. But let's look closer at the primary people involved here, Mary and Joseph. Mary's a woman going about her life, and then all of a sudden an angel appeared to her. Already a crazy thing to imagine. But then that angel tells her that as a not yet married virgin, she will become pregnant and have a child that will be God in human form, and that child will be the savior of the world. Try and imagine that. That would cause even the most devoted follower of Christ to flinch. And she had questions, she was curious about it, but she did it. She did it because she knew what was at stake. Now Joseph was promised to be married to Mary at this time. They were engaged. So remember, the world today is very different from the world Mary and Joseph were living in. In their time and culture, if a woman was found to be pregnant before marriage, or if she was assumed to have cheated on her husband, she would have been seriously punished. I don't know that Joseph thought about Mary's pregnancy at first, but it was clear he was trying to figure out how to keep the peace. He wanted Mary to be comfortable, which is why he decided to voice her quietly. But let's be honest, he wanted to be comfortable too, which is why he decided to divorce her in the first place. So obviously Joseph wasn't getting the message immediately. So God sent another angel to speak directly to Joseph. When the angel arrived, he finally understood. Joseph and Mary did what God asked, even though it meant giving up their comfort. And that was just comfort socially. When it finally came down to the part of giving birth, Joseph and Mary had to make a long, multi-day journey during the final days of her pregnancy. Now maybe you don't know, but the last few days and weeks of a woman's pregnancy is incredibly uncomfortable. Some women have a hard time getting out of bed, let alone traveling across country on a donkey's back. This would have been terrible. So from long travel days on a donkey, to having a baby surrounded by smelly animals, to having everyone you know think you're living in sin, to becoming refugees in a foreign country so your baby wouldn't be murdered. Mary and Joseph dealt with a lot. And they did it because Mary and Joseph knew the world needed a savior, and they were willing to get uncomfortable in order to see it happen. And guess what? So much of this world still needs a savior. So how can you get a little bit more uncomfortable this Christmas season to spread the word of that savior? I can give you some ideas, like be kind to a family member you struggle to like, volunteer to serve someone who's hurting or in need, or maybe spend time with someone you know who could really use you. But at the end of the day, that decision is for you to make. So take some time, pray to God, and ask Him how He wants you to get a little bit more uncomfortable this Christmas season. God bless. We'll see you on Sunday.